Hello guys, it's Ricky G234 here, and I'm here to tell you all about Deadly Premonition Director's Cut for the PlayStation 3. Deadly Premonition originally came out on the Xbox 360 3 years ago. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people hated it, and that's why it got the Guinness World Record for most critically polarizing survival horror game. It's finally out now on the PS3 with some new scenarios and updated HD graphics, and it is easily probably one of the best games of this year, and I'll tell you now why. The story is you play as FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan, who is sent to the sleepy town of Greenvale after a body of a local girl is discovered, and he thinks that it may be linked to the Red Seats murderer who he's been chasing all across the US. It turns out, though, that this whole simple murder does go deeper, and it's just... The story in this game is fantastic, and the ending is just incredible. The cast of characters and the story just are well written, and they're just oddball. You won't get that in many good survival horror games, you know. But Deadly Premonition also has a lighter tone to it, which I like. It's a very funny game at times, and its characters really do help. The new cutscenes that have been added really do add to the game to flesh it out a little more. The ending's been extended. I think it's a lot better. It's really good. But yeah, it's the characters in particular that really make this game. I mean, you've got York himself.
Agent York, what kind of cases have you dealt with in the past?
Not much different from those you've just mentioned. The case I was on until last month, well, the guy killed 7 girls in a 3-month period. He sawed their heads off from the neck and took them back to his house. He cleaned the skulls up and used them as utensils in his daily life, to eat from or as a urine cup. He hated women. That was his way of dealing with it. He'd fill skulls with ice, cola, and rum, then he'd down it in one gulp. For him, that was a holy ritual. The question of his mental state was the pivotal point in the court case.
Oh, man.
For me, he was insane. 100%. Drinking from the skulls, well, that is one thing. But those he had used to relieve himself, he would then just use them to drink from, too. Yeah, that was too much for me. It's just not sanitary.
Thomas McLean, the assistant to the sheriff, George Woodman. Anacast are just really oddball, amazing characters. You really are coming to this game for the story. Gameplay-wise, the shooting's very much like Resident Evil 4. A lot of people didn't like the controls. I found them okay. They worked for the game, but if you don't like the aiming, you can just use the lock-on, which is cool. I'm glad they did that. The game's not particularly difficult in terms of the shooting. You don't, the enemies normally take a good couple of hits, maybe 2 or 3 with the FBI gun, and that's the lowest attack weapon, which is weird. This game's very easy, except for the few boss battles that you encounter and when the Raincoat Killer comes after you. When the Raincoat Killer does come after you, you have a couple of ways. One, you'll either encounter him, you'll have to do a quick time event to get away from him, just like one button press, or you'll have to run away from him quickly by just going through doors, going through obstacles, and then there's a bit where you have to hide from him, and if he gets close you have to hold your breath. These are very tense moments, and I think they're done very well. The driving in the game's okay. The different cars have different statistics. Yeah, that it's not amazingly worth mentioning because a lot of people won't like it. A lot of people will find it okay. It's just not amazing. The cars can actually act a little weird. I remember I slammed on the brakes on one car and it did like the top half of the car went into the air. It was ridiculous. So the driving isn't exactly amazing, but I found it got the job done. The exploration's cool. I mean, the game is open world after all. People go about their daily business. They go to work, they hang out in certain places, and they go to just drive around the place, which is very cool. The game follows like a sort of real life time cycle. It'll take a couple of hours to pass in real life before it'll pass in the game, but you can have York smoke cigarettes, and the game will pass time very quickly if you do that, which is a very, very nice idea. The game isn't particularly very scary, but its atmosphere, as I said, is very, very good. The sound in the game is great. The voice acting is a mixed bag. You might find a lot that you don't like, but you'll find a lot to like, which is very, very good. York himself will be my personal favourite. He's very, very well done, and I think that guy is fantastic. The music in the game is fantastic. The soundtrack is actually one of the very few soundtracks I've actually went and got for my iPod. It's that good. So if you can, search that soundtrack. It is so worth it. So worth it. Game sounds are fine. Cars sound like they should. Guns sound like they should. You know, they should sound like they should. That's fine. There's a few sound bugs, but they rarely occurred. I got one, and that was in the title screen. But other than that, nothing really happened. The game's graphics, I mean, they have improved. Textures are a lot sharper, shadows are a lot sharper, but the game has taken a frame rate hit due to it, and the game just still doesn't look as amazing as you possibly could have thought. And also, they've taken away the green filter that was originally on in the original game, where I think this game gives the game a cleaner look. I prefer it that way. But yeah, the frame rate issues and the sound bug are the only really issues with this game, but they're very, very minor. The frame rate doesn't really get in your way. You'll notice it, but it won't really get in your way. And that's pretty much it. Deadly Premonition is a game you should definitely check out, with a fantastic story. The story's got a great ending, by the way, and the director's cut adds an extended ending and some new cutscenes. So if you're already played the game on the 360, you should definitely check it out. There is planned DLC on the way and stuff like that. The game's fine, the game's good fun, and the story is amazing, and his characters are really worth checking out. I give Deadly Premonition Director's Cut a 10 out of 10, and I think Zach will agree with me on that one. It gets an all formats recommendation. I mean, one format recommendation, which is the PS3. Hooray! Also, if you see it on the 360, do pick this game up, as it is really, really good. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.
These puppies are making me go to another town in the boondocks again.
I didn't think you'd keep me waiting in the rain for so long.
Welcome to Greenville. I'm the sheriff, George Woodman. Call me George.
There's definitely something in this town. Do you feel it, Zach? My coffee warned me